of the Blessed Virgin Mary is associated with an event which is narrated in the apocryphal infancy narrative of James. According to that text, Mary's parents, Joachim and Anne, who had been childless, received a heavenly message that they would have a child. In thanksgiving for the gift of their daughter, they brought her, while still a child, to the temple in Jerusalem to consecrate her to God. Mary remained in the temple until puberty, at which point she was assigned to Joseph as guardian. Later versions of the story, such as the Gospel of Pseudo-Matthew and the Gospel of the Nativity of Mary, tell us that Mary was taken to the temple at around the age of 3 in fulfillment of a vow. Tradition held that she was to remain there to be educated in preparation for her role as Mother of God. Be that as it may, the point that these texts make is that Mary was a person who was consecrated to God and later in her life accepted that consecration. Many of us sometimes think that Mary said yes to God when the angel Gabriel appeared to her. If we look at the text in Luke chapter 1, verse 38, we will realize that Mary goes beyond yes. Mary does not merely say yes. What she says instead is, let it be done to me according to your word. I interpret this as a passive activity or an active passivity. This means that Mary lets God do in her. She lets God take the initiative. She lets God take the first step. And when God takes the first step and we allow God to do in us, rather than imagining that we are collaborating with God, the work that is done, the service that is rendered is much more efficacious than if we respond to God by saying yes. Mary teaches us that we need to go beyond yes. We need to give God first place in our lives. The gospel text chosen for this feast is very, very instructive. When Jesus is told about his mother and his family who is outside, Jesus replies, my mother and my family are not those who are related to me by blood alone. As a matter of fact, Mary, he says, is his mother because she is related to him in the way of doing God's will. In the Gospel of John, chapter 4, verse 34, this is how Jesus defines his life's mission. He says there, my food and my drink is to do the will of him who sent me. In other words, he's pointing to his Blessed Mother Mary as that person who not only gave birth to him, who not only brought him into the world, but that person who consistently and constantly does God's will. If we are related to Jesus today, we are not related to him because we are baptized, because we bear the name Christian. We are related to him more when and whenever we do God's will. Mary is then an inspiration for this grace. Let us have the courage on this beautiful feast to say like she did, not merely a yes to God, but let us say, let it be done to me according to your word. And therefore, I sing this popular hymn in this way. Oh, maiden, will you be the mother of the Savior? Your God has chosen you to give the world his Son. His power will be your shield, his spirit come upon you. And Mary bowed and said, God's will be done. And Mary said, let it be done to me according to your word. And Mary said, let it be done to me according to your word. And Mary said, let it be done to me according to your word. When she knew that it was the will of God. On this feast of the presentation of our Blessed Mother Mary, let us also be able to have the courage to say like she did, and through her intercession, let it be done to me according to your word. Happy feast of the presentation of our Blessed Mother to everyone.